Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday night. Welcome to Arcades Anonymous, Arcade Nerd Lounge. Master here, aka Todd. Hope everybody is having a fantastic evening. Got a great show on deck for you here. Hold on one second. A lot going on in the chat and whatnot as well. Let me bring out my guests here. Let's see here. Hello, everybody. And let me get that comment off. Gosh, how are we this evening?
Fine, Todd. How are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Uh-oh. I left Matt and I left. There we go. Matt, you're here.
I'm here.
Brandon, can you hear me?
Indeed, I can. Thank you.
All right. Guys, it's great to have y'all here tonight. Got a great show planned. Before we get started, how was y'all's week?
My week's pretty good. Busy as always, man. Just trying to focus on work, do my thing.
All right, man. Matt?
Yeah, my week's been productive so far. So, yeah, it's been pleasant.
All right, fantastic. And Brandon, man?
Not as good as all you guys that got those KI cabinets.
The people that amassed them out there, yeah. All right. Bad guy, welcome to the show. BD Arcades in the chat. Thank you for watching, guys. And Andy's Game Room and Thor was in the chat earlier today. I don't know if he's still in there, but hopefully he is. So, guys, we have a great show planned for y'all tonight. And I want to thank Sixxin for coming back on the show. Really great topic that he came up with, talking about game rooms. So I'm just going to hand it over to him, man, and let him take at it.
Yeah, thanks, Todd. So I'm here to talk for about 4 more hours about pinball this time because I know you guys.
Yes.
Absolutely no pinball tonight. At least that's not our prime topic. So Thanks, guys, for having me on again.
Always welcome.
Great talking about our game rooms a couple weeks ago. And, one of the things as we went through, I got real curious to kind of hear your guys' stories about how you built your game room. What kind of considerations do you take into account when deciding what machines you're going to put in there, what you're not going to put in there, the decorations that you put on the wall, whether it's the lighting, how you use home automation in kind of a home game room. So we've got a variety of topics tonight to kind of dig into each one of your guys' setups, and I'll certainly answer from my perspective as well. So, with that, I think I want to start at the beginning, right? Which is, what event went horribly wrong in your life that you decided, hey, I need to put an arcade in my house, right? At least for your spouse, that's how they view it, right?
Mhm.
Maybe I'll start off with Todd. If you want to just talk about, how did you decide I want a game room in my house? I want, these physical cabinets as opposed to the games on my Xbox or PlayStation. And, what's the origin story there?
So I actually started with an actual 2 rooms in my house. I had my father was living with me for a while, and this room was consumed with that. And I had another room that's off my bedroom that was just empty space, wasn't being used or anything like that. And I started buying consoles and saying, I need a man cave. I need a place that I can go, that I can just unwind, because I'm the only guy in the house aside from the dog. And I wanted someplace that I could just go and just unwind away from the ladies and just enjoy. And it started with the consoles. It started building, and then once I filled up that room full of consoles, it was like, what am I going to do now? I need something else. I just needed that constant, I need to build something. And this was about the time that Arcade 1-Up came out. And my wife got me for Christmas, I want to say it was 2018. I don't think it was 19. I think it was 18. She bought me the Final Fight Arcade 1-Up. And it was under the Christmas tree. And, of course, she had no idea what it was. She had just went to Walmart, saw it on the shelf, and said, hey, you want to try this out? And I got hooked from there on. I just kept buying more machines and saying, now I want to build my arcade room, like from my childhood, from the arcade that I grew up in. And I grew up in a little town in Texas with a little tiny arcade. And a lot of my inspiration came from that too. So.
No, that's awesome. I mean, I feel the same way where, I kind of audibly kind of sigh a little in a good way when I come down to my arcade. Like it's your one space that's your own, and you can kind of relax a little. So maybe let's go with Matt next. What's your kind of origin story?
The origin story, Black Friday 2019, the ALU was like $400 at Sam's, and so I was like it was, I didn't really know what it was. I just it had all these games on it, and that was before you could mod it or anything. Like it came with 350 games, and what you got, you got what you got, and you didn't throw a fit. And then it just started with there, and then after that, I got the most of my stuff. The original first 3 or 4 cabinets are all based on At Games' platform.
Yeah.
And then after that, and then it started with the Simpsons, and it just worked its way around the room. And then this used to be the office, and then the original arcade was a different room and home. And then my wife, she's like, why don't you just swap, because this room is slightly bigger than the other one. So yeah, it's just that's how it started. Yeah.
Move it all around.
You got an understanding spouse there, ceding territory to increase the scope.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I'm blessed. Yeah, it's just her and I in this house. So yeah,
got some room. Brian, what about you, man?
Well, for me, it all started with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I watched a YouTube video of somebody reviewing it, and I was like, that exists?
Yeah.
And at that moment, I went to Walmart, picked one up, assembled it, played it, beat both games that night, and just fell in love with it. And from then, it just kind of snowballed very slowly. Next thing you know, NBA Jam came out. I had to have that, and I found that at Walmart for like $200. And then it became, gosh, I don't even remember what my third cabinet was. Where are you? Man, I don't even know. It spiraled out of control at that point. Even my wife has helped me out. She's saw Simpsons for like $200 at Walmart. She goes, "Here, let's get that." So we got that, and then she loves Dig Dug and Mrs. Pac-Man. I found a deluxe 81 cabinet for like $169 at Wayfair, open box. Picked that up, and like I said, man, it's just been trying to find the best deal possible at the best time. But then again, also having that FOMO that hits it every now and then, where you're just like, I gotta have that. So, like I said, it's in my bedroom. This is my bedroom that I'm talking to y'all at.
Yes,
my desk is my bed.
Dude.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I have 11 machines in here.
Wow.
And the wife's okay with it.
And the wife's okay with it, man.
I don't
That's
know
awesome.
if my wife would let me have it in the bedroom, but she has been an enabler, because she definitely has been, saying bye, or it's okay, honey, I love you. Keep doing what you're doing.
It's functional furniture.
It is functional furniture, yes.
It's true.
It's pretty to look at when they're lined up. You feel like you're in an arcade. Then you can add some lighting and stuff like that, cool stuff like that, and then it's just like, we can have fun, and then we can turn it all off and have serious time at that point. It's just like picture frames and stuff on the wall, right?
Stupid fat hobbit.
You all started with video games, right? I mean, it wasn't some Walmart version of skee ball or some foosball table or something like that. And I think probably one of the reasons was a lot of this kind of reintroduction of these 3/4 scale affordable home versions, right? Made it very accessible to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So go ahead. No, I think that's what really fueled me, was getting the 3/4 scale. It's a lot smaller and a lot more attainable for some people that want to get into this hobby and start out. And I think it's definitely a break-in or a startup for some people, and then you just can't get enough, and you keep adding and adding and adding.
So I think probably a lot of you did what Brian said, which is you started with one or two, but then you, as you saw deals or maybe even cabs came out that you wanted, you added a few more and a few more. But did you kind of enter that phase planning out what you wanted in your arcade, or did you just say, all right, let's just keep going until I'm out of room? Or, did you know that you wanted a variety of machines in there besides video games? So let's hear from you, Todd, again.
Yeah, for me, it was, I may have not had nostalgia for the game, but I remember walking past it in the arcade. And for me, it was, let's get what I can get into the arcade. And at first, it was hard for me to say, okay, this is what I'm going to have. I'm not going to get any more. It was like I kept adding and adding and adding and adding. And then, it's been really hard to let some of it go. And that's been a challenge for me. But now I'm looking at it more of, what do I have more interest in? What do I have more nostalgia for, and what really works with the genre that I like. So, but at first it was just like a snowball effect. They would come out with a cab, or the thrill of finding it for, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I found it for clearance for $220. That was just the thing that fueled it, was the drive of finding a great deal and finding the next big thing.
So do you only have video games in yours, or do you have a V-Pen or anything like that?
In mine, I have 3 V-Pens. I've got the arcade 1-ups. I've got the Marvel and the Star Wars. And then I do have an ALP as well.
Taking down notes so that I know exactly who can compete in the weekly tournament. I want to see you guys' scores up there.
Yeah. My daughter is more into the Star Wars and the Marvels, so she usually takes those machines. So that ALP is just sitting there saying, play me,
Okay. What about you, Matt?
Let's see, as in what I chose. Yeah, it's mainly variety, and so I try to have like still limited on space. It's 11 by 11 in here, and so therefore, I try to have some sort of form factor that that scratches the itch for all of those given varieties. So whether it be a driving cab or pinball or Star Wars or light guns or yeah. So that's the main thing is try to have the most variety when somebody comes in there. They ask, "Do you have this?" and then hopefully I do have some sort of something that either is that or mimics it. So yes.
Brian, would you say that kind of fits your thoughts on it too?
Yeah. So my thought process has changed over the time. Like at first it was just buy whatever I could that was on deal or something that I felt like I really had to have until space started to fill up.
Yeah.
Then it was time to be a little bit selective. Then it's like, all right, well, now I need to get rid of this to get this. And that's kind of how it works, man. But at first, when that urge hits you where you gotta I gotta have that. You don't care about space. You don't care about where you're gonna put it. You just want to fit it in at that point. But then you get to a point where you start to be like an adult a little bit. Your kid goes away in you, and you're like, where am I gonna put this? I have no room to walk in here. And then you space it out and you find like, all right, well, now I figured out floor space to work this. What else can I put in here? Nothing. All right, fine.
That's a really interesting walk-on topic, right? Which is, at what point do you start realizing you're hoarding games and your room will actually look way nicer with a few fewer cabs, right?
Yeah,
right.
Because you talked about earlier how it's kind of functional artwork, some of these things, right? And the side art on a lot of these cabs are really beautiful, or the profile, right? How each cab looks a little different. You lose that to the degree you jam them literally, wall to wall, right? And so at what point do you start saying to yourself, oh yeah, I could maximize the space with 20, but man, 16 will look a lot nicer.
Right.
I haven't reached that point yet, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah, I kept saying to myself, okay, I'm going to, have a cap. This is it. And like I said, it was hard for me to let go. I ended up selling 5 cabs like 2 or 3 months ago, and that was hard for me because it was like I really couldn't figure out what to let go. And
you had to Michael B in any moment.
Yeah, me and him felt like kindred spirits because it was like, I couldn't let go of any, and here I am, my living room's full, my this room's full, and now I'm going into the hallway, and it's like I can't keep doing this. I got to stop at some point, and I don't think I've reached that point yet, but I have learned to start letting go a little bit. And I think also the thing that really excites me, and not to change the subject, but is just wanting to cram it all and make it work. Because in arcades, that's sometimes the places that I went to were really tiny, really small, and they had tons of cabinets there to play, and it was not a lot of space. How did you maximize that square footage? And I think I get a little bit of I don't want to say a high, but I get excited saying, how many more cabs could I fit in here? How much more could I put in here and still be functional, still be able to walk in here and do what I need to do, and just master the actual space.
Yeah, it's the whole much
So,
like.
Go ahead, Matt.
I was like the whole much like everybody's played that Jenga game or like Tetris game. Like they rearranged their their arcade like 15 times and they end up just putting it right back the way it was because that was the best scenario in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is how retarded I am. So you look behind me, you see tallest cab, next tallest, smaller, and then shortest. Like I literally had to line it up like that because my brain told me to.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then I look behind, Todd, and I look behind Matt, and I'm like, man, you can squeeze those together and put another one back there if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
And then I look at Brandon, I'm like, you can't fit nothing else there, man. You maxed out that space, buddy. You're just like me.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, it's interesting, how you go through these phases in collecting, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know. It's one of those things that you just got to enjoy what it is. I'm very detail oriented, and so when I did mine, I actually utilized a 3-dimensional like planning software.
Mhm.
It was something I just found online. It was for free, and where you can specify dimensions of objects and rooms, and so you can pretty much place everything and then 3-dimensionally put yourself in views of the space in order to say, like, does a pinball cab really fit there or not? Or how many can you get against that wall before it starts looking stupid?
Yep.
But yeah, no, that's the challenge now, is just figuring out how to maximize that space. And that's one of the reasons I got a couple of those partycades, is just that I have a narrow section of my basement and it can't fit cabs on both sides and still have a good sized walkway. And so it'll be cabs on one side and partycade on the other. So
yeah. That form factor
It's another
is so
thing
beautiful.
for me. I'm sorry, Matt. I keep
No,
interrupting
so
you.
the partycade, that form factor is so beautiful. I wish they would just continue like an online presence with that form factor, like if like Simpsons or whoever, like any given online cab, and just make it smaller. It would be perfect.
Did they ever announce like if they were going to discontinue that? I mean, it seems like they're not really coming out with newer ones. Even the manufacturer of their old ones has stopped long ago.
I was during one of the live streams that John D was, and this was last year. I said, hey, they were asking questions, and all that, and I posed a question and said, are you still going to come out with partycades? Are you still going to, feed that line? And luckily I got picked, and John D said, yeah, he says there's more partycades coming, and I know that's been a few months ago and things change business wise, but I think that it's a good revenue stream for them. I think the countercades and the partycades are, dare I say, just continuations of money that's coming in, an opportunity to have more revenue come in, because there's people like us, I have 20 cabs. I'm thinking I got 2 coming. Where am I going to put those 2? If a partycade came out tomorrow that I wanted, I wouldn't say, oh, where am I going to put it? I'll find a place for a partycade, or I'll store it under something, or come up with something. 3/4 you have to think about, but majority of the people that are out there don't think that way. They think about, what they want right then and there.
So transitioning topics a little, we've talked about, machines and maybe getting some variety. Do you guys, frequently play with others down there? Do you entertain? Is it mainly you just playing it? How do you kind of use yours? So let's start with Matt this time.
Oh, that's easy. And so we have like birthdays, or we'll have like game nights over here. And so we'll have this going, and we'll have Rock Band and Guitar Hero in the living room. And my wife will smoke some brisket or some, a pork butt, and we'll just have people over and then just have a good time. So yeah, that's an easy question.
Was that an invite?
Right.
I will get on a plane.
Bixby, Oklahoma, my friend. Come on.
I'll be there.
So when you did that the first time, did you have to like take them around and show them how to play these games? Did a lot of them have kind of some nostalgic memory of them? How'd that work?
So I'm not really bashing out games because it was my first love. That's the only thing about their interface, right? It's not really intuitive. And so the best thing about an ALU or a multicade is just to put it on one game and leave it there. And so you sit, and so that was the only thing. Like the GUI of the iGames is not really intuitive. So people always fumble their way through that. But most of the time they understand, like, press start and just go at it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's one of the problems I had with my RetroPie build is, there's so many games on there, and, the buttons are kind of hit or miss in terms of their mapping onto the buttons. And that's what I like about the Arcade 1-Ups is, they have that transition screen that says, all right, this button is fire or jump or whatever it is. And so someone who knows nothing about it really can kind of fumble their way through it, and within a minute or two kind of know what they're doing. Right.
Right.
I wish they had screens like that built into, like some of these front end platforms, where it would be a little more intuitive for people to pick up. What about you, Brian?
So, like at first, it was all about me and me playing them at any time I wanted to. But the more I've got, the more I felt like I was an arcade operator. So it was like, I want my wife to be able to play. I want my kids to be able to play. I want my mom to come down here and play. She loves Mrs. Pac-Man as well. So it's funny. Like the other day, I came home from work and I walked in. All my machines are on. All my lights are on. My mom's down here on a stool playing Mrs. Pac-Man by herself, just down here by herself.
Awesome.
And that was like a heartwarming moment for me to have to see her just enjoying herself. You know, even though she's trying to just beat my high score, but still. But, you know, she's down here having a good time. And really, that's what makes me honestly really want to keep them more than anything, is that I enjoy them, but also get to have family and friends that come over and enjoy them as well. And that's the reason why I got a variety of cabs, too. I have no nostalgia whatsoever for Ridge Racer. But I was like, my arcade room needs a driving cab, so I got it. I love Terminator, but it's also a shooter cab. I gotta have it, so you know I put that in here too. And I was like, you know what? I need a pinball, so I got the Attack from Mars arcade 1-up pinball. And just a variety. My kids play a variety of games. Like one of them, their favorite's the pinball machine. Another one is Ridge Racer. My mom loves Mrs. Pac-Man. My wife loves Dig Dug. So, you know, they all have their favorites. And then we have our community game nights on Sunday with each other. We play Simpsons. And now we're going to start playing KI, guys.
Yeah.
Or Battletoads,
yeah.
Battletoads. I'm excited about that too as well.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about you, Todd?
So, you know, I don't entertain very much. I have a little bit of family here in North Carolina, and you know, not to say that I don't have guests come over, but it's not very often. You know, my stepdad's come over a couple times and whatnot, but majority of the time it's just me or my daughter or my wife, and you know, I think. You know, I've gotten my daughter into virtual pinball through the arcade 1-up machines, and you know that really got me excited because you know now she wants to go to the arcades that are out there, you know, the big functional pinballs or the big arcades and just play. And even though that we have a lot of the games here, it's nice that you know it's got her into it and not forced her to get into it. If she wants to play something, you know, she can come in here and do it. But, you know, as far as entertaining, it's more just for me and my wife. I would love to have friends over that want to come and just play. But, you know, busy life and, you know, having a lot going on, sometimes it's hard to do. But if I ever had an entertaining situation, I'm sure that this would be a main spot.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Brandon, do you entertain that much?
Not a lot. You know, every month we have a friend cookout with a variety of families that my wife's met over a period of time, and there's a bunch of kids under the age of 10, and you know every couple months we'll have it here, and so I'll have 15 kids running around my house. So they enjoy playing these games. Occasionally I'll be able to get the adults down, but you know. The wives in general have absolutely no interest in it. The husbands, which is fine because occasionally I'll get the husbands down here and show them a few of these things. But it's amazing to me how game illiterate the average person is. Like we all played these things back in the day, right? Because arcades in the 80s and 90s were super popular, but they have like no idea how to play these games. Occasionally you'll get someone that knows how to play like NBA Jam or maybe one of the Street Fighters. But it's a bit of a instructional opportunity when they come over. So mainly it's me. Luckily my boys play a lot of games with me. So you know, that's built-in audience right there.
Yes, sir. And so the balance. Go ahead. The balance is also when you're hosting it, right? Like you have to play, but then you have to make sure that you're not that jerk just sits there in front of a tube all day, you know,
Yeah.
You have to actually be a host. Yeah.
Or the
Well,
grumpy arcade owner that
You
says,
can't
"Don't
play
do that to
very
my
well.
machine."
You also can't play very well either because no one wants to watch you play pinball for 10 minutes before they get to play their next ball.
Before they get to play.
Yeah,
So you have to be like, oops. Stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's fun. But that's why, these opportunities to get on and talk with other people that love playing these games is still enjoyable for myself, and I'm sure for others as well. So
absolutely.
So what was your most recent addition in your game room? Let's start with Brian this time.
It's been a while. Oh, MVSX.
Okay.
And you're liking that?
Loving it, man. I did the high-low X hack with it, so I've added like 200 something games to it. It's fantastic. I got all the Capcoms, beat 'em ups, shoot 'em ups, fighters, and then we also got all the SNK, which I love Neo Geo games anyway. I've always been obsessed with trying to find a Neo Geo machine, MVS. Ever since I found one in my childhood at like a Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
I've always been trying to find those because it's games that you don't see around here, or that you don't normally see. These are all like Japanese built games that they made for us, but you don't see them. You very rarely see them, especially on consoles. They don't really make console versions of most things, except for like Samurai Showdown. They made that for like Super Nintendo and stuff.
Yeah.
But the rest of them you don't really see, especially like Metal Slug. Sure. That's awesome. But yeah, that's one reason. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's one of my kids' favorite games is the Metal Slug.
Oh yeah.
They love that zombie one where it like pukes, was it blood or something?
The puke blood, yeah. That's what.
7-year-old, I'm sure my wife, if she saw this, would not approve.
Yeah, but so much fun, man.
What about you, Todd? What's your most recent addition?
So Ridge Racer was probably my most recent, but it's still in the box.
It's still the box.
Still in the box. And I keep saying every time I go past it, assemble it. Prior to that, I want to say that Simpsons was the one that got built. And that was when I was like, I don't have any more room in this room. I'm going to have to do something different. And from that point on, it kind of expanded from there. But Ridge Racer is probably the most recent, and it hasn't been built and it hasn't been played, and shame on me for sure.
I wouldn't be able to do it. As soon as it got here, it's being built.
And see, that's the thing too. I assemble stuff all day long for my job, and it's like I love doing that. That's something that I
take that back. If I had your job, I'd be like, no, I ain't.
No, I mean, I really enjoy just putting things together, and it kills me too. And the other day, I said, I'm going to have to build this at some point. It's just going to have to happen.
Yeah.
Right. It's just going to have to be on, kind of like your time when you really feel like it. It's kind of like me, it's kind of like me at work when I cook all day and I come home and I'm like, all right.
And the wife asks you to cook.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt? What's your most recent addition?
The Descendant Ligands. That's my least, like, my last thing I actually tinkered with. And then like cabinet wise was probably my Pac-Man Cabrio cab in the corner. It was so it was at Sam's for like $200. It was like 211 shipped to my door. So yeah, cabinet wise, that was it.
So
that's the wood grain one, right?
Yes, sir.
You actually are going to lead me onto a tangent here just for my own curiosity. So I don't have any Lycan stuff in my basement, and there's kind of a reason for that, right? And so the question I'm going to pose to the group is, are there any types of games that are better suited in an arcade, a true commercial arcade environment than in your home? And why? And so I have some thoughts on that, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts. And I did not warn you about this question beforehand because I just came up with it 5 seconds ago. So
all right, before that, what was your last purchase?
Okay, so my last purchase technically was that gumball machine.
Okay.
Right? But Mando was the most recent pin that's come down here. And if you are talking about arcades, the Defender Partycade was the most recent one.
Awesome.
So what games, if any, are better suited for a commercial arcade environment, i.e., you just don't think you'd get your play value out of them in your house? Are there any games like that? Because I'm going to go ahead and have a hot take here. And light gun games, I just don't think for me. I love them. Like,
No.
I love them. They're one of the first things I'm going to play when I go to an arcade. I love Point Blank. I love Big Buck Hunter.
Oh, man.
But in a home environment, I just don't know that I would get the same enjoyment. One, because it loses its kind of specialness. Like part of the uniqueness about a gun game is you get to hold a gun, right? Like as a kid, that was pretty cool. But in your house, like if I could do it whenever I wanted, like it wouldn't have that allure for me. And then the replayability, I don't know if it would be there for me. So that was my hot take. So feel free to
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so actually that I 100% agree with that, given that statement though, right? Because T2 is beautiful, but it's so sinking hard and it's only one game. And so that's why I sold it. And also they were too squishy, like you said, like you couldn't see the artwork. They were just side by side. And like when multiple people would play and you'd be like playing like this. And so, but then like this, given that Batistera build, it has like over 100 light games. And so, and then I've said this to him before, like, I think we played like together, like, she played with me and we ran through, I think it was Lethal Enforcer, the second one. It's just a blast. And so, yeah, it's the selection in addition to the light gun games makes it better, but versus T2 with one game on one cabinet. That's a struggle.
Sure. Todd, what you got?
I think the games that don't really do well at home, would be like the specialty stuff. Because, people are talking about how they want, Dance Dance Revolution or something like that. Something that's really specialty. Even like Paperboy, where you have to have the handlebars. You can't, you can play with a joystick, but it's not the same. Those are the kind of games that I think you just can't get that same feel. If it's a joystick game and they can mimic the actual joystick, that perfect. But I mean, anything that's too specialized is just not great in a home setting,
Yeah. And DDR is so huge, right? Like, how would you put that in your house?
Yeah, and then they want Arcade 1-Up to come up with something, and I just don't see it happening. I just don't see something like that really boiling down.
Brian, any thoughts?
Totally agree with you on the whole light gun thing. See, like when you go to an arcade and you see that big old machine, it's huge. It's got a giant screen, loud bass, lights flashing everywhere, the gun making clack clack. Arcade 1-Up's never going to come out with anything like that. You're going to get a 17-inch screen. It's going to be shrunken, skinny as possible. It's not going to have any more than 2 speakers. There's not going to be any kind of subwoofer, no bass or anything like that. Your gun's not going to go clack clack unless you got like the Terminator, but that's really annoying. It's like a kid's toy.
Yeah.
But you're just not going to get that authentic feel. Also, it's not at your house. It's somewhere you have to go. You have to drive there. That's going to bring you more to it every time than saying if it was available in your home, you just walk into the room and play it. That I guess feeling of it being there all the time is going to really just drive you to the point where you're just not going to play it as often as say you would if you went to an actual arcade or somewhere that actually had one of those machines, right?
Yes, sir.
So I don't know, man. It's just go ahead.
Have you guys ever played Ghost Squad in an arcade?
No.
So it has like submachine guns with full recoil in it, and it's a pretty good game. But at the arcade near me, when I first started going there, it was like my favorite one. And this was before I did finish my basement. So I was like, oh yeah, I need to get one of those for my basement. Right. But then you go back and you play it like, over and over again. And, it's the same game every time, stage wise. Super neat, but, just I want to leave it for that unique feeling of going there every few months and putting it a few quarters.
Yes, sir.
Right. I mean, same thing with like, say, like air hockey table. like a real authentic commercial, like air hockey table. Yeah, I'd love to have one, but I will definitely not play it as much as, say, if I had to go somewhere to actually play it,
Mm-hmm.
Everybody says that about pool tables too. Like I've known multiple people with pool tables, and they're just like, yeah, I just don't play it hardly at all.
Yeah, it takes up all the space and whatnot.
And see, like me and my wife, we want to get a ping pong table.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we would play the mess out of it when we first got it, but I think eventually it would just be like, we'll just roll it up and put it in the corner, and just leave it there. And then maybe every once in a while, I'll be like, yeah, you want to play ping pong or whatever, and then we'll play it. But it just won't have that same feeling, It just take up space.
See, I wanted a pool table for the longest time because two things. One, when I was a kid, my grandfather in his basement had a bumper pool table from like the 60s. And, it's one of those smaller tables with the, pegs in the middle.
Yep.
You have to do your angled shots to the other side in order to get in the hole. And, it's one of those where I'm very nostalgic about that. In fact, I'm probably more nostalgic about that than any arcade game. And then when I was in high school, somehow my friends and I thought that that's the place that you meet girls, is the pool.
The pool hall.
Spoiler alert, you don't. The guy twice the size of you, so it's not a good idea.
Right.
I have a funny story about pool halls anyway.
That only took 2 years of my life for us to figure that out. But yeah, no, I've always wanted a pool table, but I kind of feel like it's one of those things where if I had it, maybe I wouldn't use it as much.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got a bit of a hypothetical here. I wanted to get to this. This is kind of the main event in my mind. On the pinball side, we love playing these. You have X amount of dollars, pick 5 machines in your ideal game room, right? And so don't think about what you have now. Just think about, in an ideal world, cost is not really the concern. But with that being said, don't just pick things because they're super rare or expensive, right? Like pick them because you love them. If you could pick for your home arcade 4 arcade machines and then 4 other machines, other being anything that's not a video game. So, it could be darts, it could be pool, it could be foosball, skee ball, pinball, whatever you want. What does your arcade look like? And so
4 and 4, right?
4 and 4. Make it easy.
Okay.
So Todd, you're up, man.
So X-Men, real X-Men all day long. And then I'm a big Tekken fan, so I would definitely get a Tekken and have that with another fighter. Probably there's so many out there. I probably would go with Marvel, do a Marvel fighter of some kind, because there's just so many to choose from. But I would definitely have that. And then that 4th actual arcade type cabinet, I would have a candy cab with one of the really nice Japanese fighters. Not really knowing the name of it because it's all in Japanese, but just having that candy cab, sitting there with the other 3 would just be awesome in a game room to me, or arcade to me. And then as far as 4 other things, got to definitely have darts. A nice electronic dart system of some type because it's just fun to play. I'm a big pool hall guy. I love playing pool. So I would want a pool table, a really nice, really eccentric one, since that's really what we're talking about here. And then definitely like a skee ball, a really nice skee ball as well. And then that 4th one, there's so many choices out there for what that last non-arcade would be. I don't know. I probably would do like an old-timey slot machine, just something that you can pull and coins come out, just something to really just tie the whole room together.
Sounds great. Matt, what about you?
All right, I'm old school. I wrote mine down. And so, all right, so the 4 arcades. So Hydro Thunder, just because my wife and I, we both love that game. And so a House of the Dead cab, so that's a light gun cab. But the replayability and just the artwork is wonderful. Let's see, Guitar Hero, I think it'd be fantastic. Just because I love Guitar Hero, but to have a Guitar Hero like arcade with those heavy guitars, because like the guitars that we have here versus you go to like to Dave and Buster's, and those like 2 pounds a piece, and so they're awesome. Let's see, what else we got? Oh, Qbert. Like nobody's reproduced Qbert, so that form factor based on a diagonal gate, yeah, it'd be nice to have a Qbert. So those are my 4 arcades, and then the other 4, as we discussed, so Black Knight 2000 pin. I love that pinball table, and then it's kind of hard. So like a Mando pinball, or the Thanos one. What is it? The Avengers Infinity, the one with the gauntlet. Yeah. That pin, that would be my second pinball table. And then I would love to have just a jukebox, like even if it had the old kind that like they had the CDs that flipped, like of our childhood. And then probably darts. Monica, like she always asks, like, can we get a dartboard? But then there's people in our family that don't respect boundaries. If they like put a dart in my wall, they wouldn't care. So like I struggle to get a dartboard in the house. But yeah, that's my list.
Solid.
Yeah, that's great. Brian, what about you?
All right, arcade machines. I have to have a WrestleFest. I love that game so much, and I love the just the artwork, everything. So love WrestleFest. Got to have that. Carnival, like gun game. I always love playing that. Oh boy. Let's go with. I would love to have a Godzilla pinball. I would definitely love to have 2 Daytona USA machines.
Yeah, that's cool.
Does that count as one? Are we getting technical here? Red flag?
We'll group it, yeah.
That's why I said 2, just in case. But Aliens vs. Predator arcade machine in the big blue style, that'd be awesome. And then skee ball. And then one time when me and my wife went to Gatlinburg, we played a Connect 4 throwing basketball game.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
I would love to have one of those, and I know she would too. We had so much fun competing with each other on that. So that would be awesome to have as well. I'm not sure if I said 8 or not, but daggum it, I think it's pretty close.
I see chat's got a lot of great ideas here.
Oh,
absolutely,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I'll talk about mine, and then maybe we can kind of look at some of their comments.
Yeah.
So, for the arcades, I'm probably going to be 80s heavy. I would do Robotron, Gyrus, Qbert, and then a Candy Cab, probably an Astro City with Street Fighter Third Strike.
Uh-huh.
And then for the others, just to not be too pinball on brand, I will go with 2 pinball machines.
That's got to be hard.
It is, and so these are not like my favorite machines of all times. They're just like my current lust for machines. This today changes every day, so don't take it, too seriously. But I really want a Black Knight Sword of Rage, and then I also want a Diner, which I was talking to you guys about from the 80s, which is a System 11 game. So those 2, some sort of a head-to-head basketball game. I think Dan put that in the comments, which is totally dreamland. Like for 2 things. One, my basement ceiling is not conducive to an arc-based shooting game.
No.
And even if it was, it would probably literally kill me getting it into my basement.
I can't imagine.
Are super heavy. Another one of the things that I think probably is better in commercial arcades, simply because I don't know how you get it in your house.
It's a very good point.
So, and I think I have one more. So a jukebox. I think some of you in the Discord have seen. I've been looking at those, and at some point I will break down and buy one. I'm fighting the good fight right now. But,
is that something that you want to try to buy and kind of fix up yourself, or you just find it ready to go, plug it in, and go?
I am at my capacity for hobbies right now. Like I have no more free time to learn things. In fact, like I am losing my mind trying to just finish my Cheetah Restore.
Yeah.
Not because it's painful, like I enjoy it, but it's just so hard finding the time for all these things. And So I'm at that point where I'd rather throw a little money at it to save myself some time and sanity.
Yes.
Uh,
So we'll see what happens there. But
the 80s really didn't have like a really great, good-looking jukebox,
Right.
but you can find them and they're reasonably priced, but
yes.
like aesthetically beautiful, is kind of like not there. And
my favorite are the early 60s jukeboxes.
Oh, like a Wurlitzer?
Yeah. So
the bubbles. Yeah.
The row and the that was AMI and some of those. So you've got two kind of styles, and I am not a jukebox expert. So again, this is not pinball land, so take it with a grain of salt. You've got your bubblers, which are mainly the Wurlitzers, right? Where they've got the bubbles going around the trim work, and they're typically real wood heavy. But in the early 60s, you had a different style, which, like the top half is mainly a glass displaying some sort of ornate design around the actual like vinyl mechanism. And I really want one of those, but of course they're like way more expensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like everything. It's like, the one you like, that's like 3 times.
Right.
It's just so we'll see what happens there. But I don't know if we have the ability to throw up some of chat's ideas. I know a few of them commented on games that they wanted.
Let's see here. So I think Dan here was really just talking about pinball. But that was the 4 there. Yeah, I think the third floor, the punching bag machine. I think that's an awesome thing to have. That would be. I don't think something like that would be overwhelming in a home situation. Do you?
I'd be afraid I missed a bag and hit the wall.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
That's what happened. But let's say you had a bad day. You just there you go.
Yeah.
Dan, of course, suggested the basketball, which you talked about. And then Papa Brad here had Elvira's Third Stiff, Stern, Godzilla, Attack from Mars, Robotron, Defender, Donkey Kong. I think all of us would love to have a Donkey Kong in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
I'm kind of surprised no one mentioned the 1990s Indiana Jones pinball. Like, since that's such a popular theme, usually you hear that one.
And I'm trying to think, I may have played that one at an arcade somewhere. Because it was a decent table, from what I can remember.
Yeah, it's got a lot of features to it. It's not super deep, but deep enough for the 90s stuff. And they go for stupid prices now, though, because it's Indiana Jones and everybody's nostalgic about Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Yeah, so good looking too.
Yeah.
And this being the last movie per se, so I'm sure that probably fuels some of that cost as well.
So I asked this question because one of the things I think I mentioned last time, that on the back half of my area, I've got a whole bunch of computer stuff. That's all going to move upstairs, so I'm freeing up more space for a addition of things. And so I'm trying to figure out what I want to put there. And to be honest, where I land now is getting some full-size arcade cabinets. But as I talked about earlier, I cannot possibly take on any more hobbies of restoring or fixing up, and I do not want to mess with CRTs. And so what I will probably do is get I'll either order some of the reproduction cabs and maybe do the decals and controls myself, and if not, there's a lot of companies anymore, vendors that make these full-size reproductions, and you can run them off of J-Rock boards. And so they're pretty accurate. I am not a competition arcade player, so that it will not break my heart if it's not original boards, and it saves me hours and hours of my time. So I probably this year will be adding a Robotron, Gyrus, and Cuber cab down here.
Man. Yeah, I'm surprised nobody talked about bubble hockey tables.
I wanted to. I forgot, man.
I mean,
in the heat of the moment, I forgot about it. But yes, absolutely, I would love to have one of those.
I mean, those
So
are
I know-
so fun. You can't
I know what you're talking
every time
about,
you go
but-
to one, you have to play.
I know what you're talking about, like visually, but I don't remember ever playing one. So is it kind of like foosball where there's a puck that's put on there and you have to like turn things in order to hit it, or what?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of magnetic too, right?
I think so. It
It has like some
has
magnets.
some elements in there that help it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, like in Oklahoma, we don't really like follow hockey that much. So yeah. Sorry, Mike.
So I've talked about what I'm going to add next. What are you guys going to add next? Either something you currently have planned or is a more distant goal. What's the next thing you want to bring in your room? And I'll open it up to the floor because, whatever comes to your mind first.
That's a tough one because, you always have stuff that you want, and then you don't know what's going to come next, what's going to be released next because you're always thinking what's going to be next. We talked a little bit about, ping pong and pool table and stuff like that. There's things that you can buy, there's space savers, pool tables that are still, quality but fold, that kind of thing.
Right.
That's probably something that I would venture into next because I love playing pool and I don't have a pool table. And, sometimes going out every couple of nights to go play pool is hard to do versus buying a cheap table and folding it up. So that may be something that I'm going to venture into. But honestly, I don't know anything. I got 2 arcades coming, KI and the iArcade. So that's probably going to hold me over for a little bit as far as getting something new quick.
Matt, Brian, what you got?
I'll go. That's it. So, like, I've contemplated off and on to get another driving cab to modify, so therefore I could do head-to-head via driving, and so it'd be fun, right? So competition's wonderful, and then a Kubert cab, like it would be if either arcade would make one, like it would be wonky to have a full-size Kubert next to these guys, but so I'm hopefully optimistic that Arcade 1-Up eventually will make a Kubert cab.
Sure.
My wife keeps on hinting at let's get a ping pong table, so that might be the next thing to get. For me, easy setup in the garage and everything. But man, if I could get my dream cab from, say, a home arcade company, it would probably be, like a Daytona USA or even a House of Dead or a Carnival. I would absolutely love to have one of those, even though it's not going to be like the real thing. It's close enough. I'll be happy with it. So that'd be what I would really like to have next. Absolutely. Yeah. But I can wait.
That's cool. Yeah, I know. I was kind of going down the rabbit hole trying to figure out what I wanted to do back there. And, you can really find obscure things that look interesting. So like some of these Japanese arcade rhythm games look super cool to me. I think there's one called Ubeat, Jubeat. It's basically like a 4x4 button grid, and it's, they've got screens on each button, and you have to hit them in the rhythm of the song, and you chain it together. And there's other ones like Groove Coaster and stuff. And so there's I think three main companies that import actual used Japanese arcades. And again, if I had more free time to figure out how to make a arcade machine that's running off a network in Japan work in my house in America, I probably would do it. But man, I tell you, baseball season's got to stop sooner.
Yeah. So, there's a local arcade here that has tons of candy cades and candy cabs and tons of Japanese stuff. I'm going to have to do a tour and hoping you can check that out, Brandon, because I think you would really enjoy it. I'm lucky to have it here. It's definitely a place to go and just have fun.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So no, I really enjoyed kind of talking, about these topics with you guys tonight. I know we're getting near time. So is there anything else that you wanted to hit before we kind of sign off?
What kind of like aesthetics do y'all like to have in your game room? Is there any kind of like lighting, LED lights that you'd like to add to make you feel like you got that home arcade feel, or little arcade signs, or strobe lights, black lights? Or y'all just really just want to put all your machines in a room and just be able to enjoy.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'll go ahead. Actually, this sounds wonky. Like that cool carpet, like they have like the roller skating rink or arcades or the bowling alley. Like it sounds wonky, like to spend that kind of money on like special carpet. But I think it would rock to have special carpet in the arcade.
Yeah,
no doubt. So I talked a little bit about the arcade that I grew up in. In Texas, and that place was a tiny little hole in the wall kind of place, and they literally had the wall full of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of why I chose to have all these metal signs and posters and lights. I just love having the wall completely full, and I know that's not for everybody, but I mean, that's what I'm used to. I'm used to with those kind of arcades where you go in and it's just your mind is blown because there's so much coming in, so many factors coming in.
Right.
But I want my walls full. Maybe that's just 90s because the 90s we used to put posters on the ceiling and stuff like that. But I just want my walls full of stuff, and I know it sounds crazy, but just complete decor, everything, lighting, not only like disco lights, but black lights on certain posters and things like that, really just eye popping when you walk in and you're just seeing it all.
Yeah, I think lighting and art is a huge component of making a home game room. I know it's something I've enjoyed doing, picking up pieces here and there that, either remind me of something, like, I have a Star Fox piece of art back there, some Mario Kart stuff.
Yeah.
It's something where when people come in, you kind of want their eyes to wander, right? Where they find something new every time. Whether it's some collectible that you have or a piece of artwork, and then, the ability to change the mood in the room based upon predefined light scenes. All of my sconce lighting, as well as I have some upward firing lighting, are Philips Hue. And so I can control those kind of in unison through some switches that I have and through Amazon Pay, without saying the name to set off anybody who's watching. And so I think you guys will be excited to see what I have planned for the other side of my basement later this year. I have some interesting lighting ideas. We'll just put it that way. So, but no, I think you got to be playing in the dark if you really want that arcade atmosphere, because then you have these pools of light associated with each machine that really kind of has that vibe. If you had just your overhead lights on, I don't think it would mean quite the same, if you were down there. So
yeah.
Well, at least Mike agrees with me. I'm not crazy. But yeah, I just like having all the elements in there. So I think it's great to have multiple things going on, movie posters and arcade posters and arcade signs and stuff like that. Just stuff to just really draw you in.
So there's one thing that would complete our arcade game rooms, right? What is that one thing that would complete it? Every arcade had it.
Now you're just making me think here.
Prize booth, man.
Prize booth. Okay. Like just a claw machine or a
no.
Just an actual booth where you could go and redeem those
have
tickets.
A glass booth with some candy in it, with the little pieces of paper that says 25 tickets per. Stuff on the back wall, little stuffed animals. You got a Nintendo system up there on the wall as well.
Chaotic. If you did that, you wouldn't have a bed, sir.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't have a home either.
No, but you're right. You're right.
We always talk about, you see some of the game rooms, not to go off topic or anything, but you see the game rooms that always have that little like food area or, bar or whatnot.
Yep.
All of us want that too, I think, in some level. But I would love to have something where very dramatic, where this is where you go get your snacks and all that stuff.
So I actually didn't show you this last time because I don't have any more. But where I'm sitting right now is my bar. I've got a under counter fridge that I just keep drinks in now. But originally it was meant as a 2-tap kegerator, and for 3 years I had beer on tap in my basement.
Yep.
Nice.
But then you figure out you can't consume it as fast as you need to get the value out of it.
Yeah.
And or if you did, it would give you other problems in your life. You just have a lot of calories every day to be drinking and whatnot. But so I hear you on that. But
and actually, the person actually has the most impressive, set up for like a bar area with lights and decoration. That he's in the chat. Stupid Fat Hobbit. His setup is beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
you know what would complete it for me, man, is if I actually had a coin-op Coca-Cola machine.
Yeah.
Just
like it. Yeah.
Just in the background back there. That'd be awesome, man. I'm not even gonna lie.
The thought had seriously crossed my mind, but it's again like a basketball machine. It would kill me getting it into my basement.
Oh, absolutely. Just you're gonna stuff it with Cokes every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're already buying them, right?
Right.
You're already consuming them. You might as well have them fitted to you.
It's functional furniture.
It's functional furniture. Oh. Well, guys, any more questions before we wrap this thing up?
No, it was a good chat.
Yeah.
Awesome show. Great. Awesome show.
Just for the record, we got through an hour without, talking about pinball that much. So all you out there that are pigeonholing me into pinball, I tell you.
Yeah.
Well, y'all just join our Discord, man. If y'all want to talk to Brandon about some pinball, he'll love to have you.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
That's right.
Arcades Anonymous Discord. If you're not a member already, please go join. I'll try to put a link in the description below. And guys, thank y'all for letting me host again. Thank you for coming. Brandon, really great topic, buddy. I appreciate you. And you're always welcome on the show whenever you want to come on. To my co-host, Chaotic, Multi-K Matt, I appreciate both of you as well. Y'all guys rock. So I hope everybody has a fantastic week. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed to Chaotic or Multi-K Matt or myself, please hit that subscribe. We'd love to have you part of our group, and we'd love to interact with you in the community.
Oh, and also don't forget Phil. He's trying to get to 1,000 subs.
Yeah, we want to get Phil to 1,000. So share his channel if you haven't. We want to get him to 1,000. Tomorrow, I don't know. Have they come out with what Arcade Anonymous' show is going to be tomorrow? I haven't heard. No,
Man, you're in the chat, man.
Yeah, Jan, if you're in, tell us what's going on, buddy.
They're just building anticipation.
That's what it is.
Phil and Mike are here, so maybe they can tell us, but who knows? But let us know. Hope to see both of y'all tomorrow in the show and in the chat, of course. Love seeing you guys as always. Well, that's it for us tonight, guys. Thank y'all for watching. We'll be back next Tuesday, and y'all have a great week.